all good, shaping the fate. Investors and dreamers open the gate. Supercross stands loud, proud and true, building tomorrow for me and you.
Welcome, everyone, to the Superpowers for Good show. Today, I'm so excited. I'm going to share with you an extraordinary guest. He's a young guy named Tim He, who is creating a new platform for helping entrepreneurs, including social entrepreneurs, change makers, small business owners, help them deal with co-founder issues, which so often kill a business. So stick around. You do not want to miss this. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. And, you know, I think a lot of people who don't have co-founders don't have them because they don't want to deal with this crap.
Yeah, that's fair.
And those who do are dealing with crap sometimes because you've told me offline, right?
Right.
A lot of businesses crash and burn because of these issues. What's the problem? What's going on that people can't get along and recognize that? What is it?
Yeah, I think about 65% or 2/3 of startups actually die because of co-founder issues and conflicts that ultimately, result in a co-founder breakup. But people don't think about it early enough. The example that I like to give is your co-founder relationship is sort of like your health. Some people neglect their health for too long and then they get a bad blood test and then they're like, oh shoot, I have to, really think about this and prioritize my fitness. So even if you're not, running a marathon this year, you can still take a little walk every day. And so people understand that pretty intuitively. Nobody denies it. And so we want to translate that back to your co-founder relationship and think, maybe this year you're not filing for IPO or you're not raising $100 million, but that doesn't mean that you can't start building good co-founder habits. The problem is just people don't recognize that. They don't realize that it's a need. And so I think that's why co-founder issues make up for such a huge percent of breakups.
Yeah, it really is fascinating, but yet I think people sort of intuitively recognize that problem. But I also think there's another side to this, that oftentimes, venture capitalists who invest professionally a lot of money often see that teams succeed where individual entrepreneurs sometimes fail. Are you seeing that as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about what it takes to start a company, not even counting the hours, but the skill sets you need, the networks you need, the random luck that you need, having a co-founder is just a lot of help. And yes, you can, be a solopreneur and start a company, maybe hire a few assistants or employees, but having a co-founder is also about that emotional support as well. And so, yeah, I can see why VCs or really, your best friend would probably encourage you to have a co-founder so that you don't have to shoulder the burden of starting a company all by yourself.
So, Tim, there is this sort of yin and yang of, co-founder issues, right? Problematic on the one side, key to success on the other side, because
Right.
two people are just stronger than one. So how do people manage this tension? That's what you're all about, right? And you at
Yeah.
Cherry Tree app, this is what you're doing is building tools and the networks to help people succeed as co-founders. What are the secrets?
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with that question because it's probably the number one question people ask me. How do I have a better co-foundership? And it's kind of like asking, how do I have a better marriage? Or how do I be healthier? How do I get rich? It's one of those hugely complicated questions that are, have a million different answers from a million different people. And so I tend not to give a simple answer because that can be deceiving because people assume that it's easy. But I do want to give you an answer. And so to answer the question of, what is the secret of having a great co-foundership? I think it boils down to one major thing that splits off into a million different pieces, and that's awareness. And so, um, self-awareness is a big topic as a founder. A lot of founders have coaches or even just friends and mentors who really talk to them about who they are, what they're trying to build, and the sort of vision and the company that they want to create. Right. And so that's a good place to start. The other thing that you have to know is for you to be a good co-founder is kind of like being a parent. You become a better parent when you can help your children succeed, right? And so you become a better co-founder when you help your co-founder succeed. And I'll give you a pretty common example of this. Let's take, I don't know, let's say a technical co-founder who's an engineer, maybe they're building the product, and a business co-founder who's, let's say, raising money and talking to customers. Now, as a technical co-founder, you can become a better co-founder by being a better engineer. That's a great way to become a better employee, maybe to get a promotion, maybe to get a raise. And that's also expected of you as a co-founder. You have to continuously develop your skills, learn new things, work on the project, and just build a good product. But how you become a better co-founder is actually, for example, having conversations with your business co-founder, talk about technical things, help them understand the challenges, the deadlines, why they are the way they are, the functions, and how you're thinking about them, so that they can go ahead and talk to investors from a more, aware and knowledgeable standpoint. And so you as a technical co-founder become a better co-founder when you help your business co-founder become a better business co-founder. And it goes both ways. It works with all types of skill sets, all types of co-founders. And so that's sort of the one big secret that I can give you right now.
Well, that's pretty profoundly important, I think, to be able to say, hey, listen, you not only have to work together, you have to help each other. And I do see that as having a really close parallel in marriage, having been married happily for 36 years and having kind of learned that from my spouse. She's great. She is a tremendous human being who, from the get-go, sort of has always been helpful and supportive to me, trying to make me better. And it took me a while to appreciate that I had the same goal, right? I want her to be happy. I want her to succeed. I want to help her. And when we both are helping each other, right, we have greater success in marriage. And you've kind of said that's true in this co-founder relationship. I think that is really pretty amazing. So I want to congratulate you on that. Are there any other, well, I want to just sit here and just chat with you all day. Give us one more tip. If you've got one more tip quickly, let's cover that. And then I want to cover some other things.
Sure. Let's see here. One tip is more of an analogy, it's more of a mental model than a thing to do. And so I played sports a lot growing up, and I would always look at, in high school, I would look at the older kids and think, wow, they can do that so easily. They can kick a soccer ball from, half the field so easily. And I thought that was just a function of, growing older and getting bigger and being 18 instead of 14 and whatnot, right? And so beginner or first time co-founders sort of assume the same thing with more experienced entrepreneurs. They think, wow, this person has, they've already built and sold a business. They have a great co-foundership. It must come with years of experience, right? But what they don't see is the thousands of hours of practicing free kicks, of dribbling and juggling, and for the soccer player, and having those tough conversations with your co-founder and going through the pivots together, staying up until 3 a.m. together. And so people who are more experienced seem that way because they make it look easy. That doesn't mean it is easy. And so a lot of times when you're going through tough times as a co-founder yourself, and you look at somebody else and you think, wow, they're having it so easy, it must be something wrong with me or my co-foundership. Therefore, this is a problem or it's not going to work. Try to reframe that. Maybe this is the 3 a.m. soccer practice. Maybe this is the free kick that you miss in the game. And that's when you learn about, how to fail successfully. And so just take a moment if that's what you're going through and really frame yourself into a mindset of just getting those reps in and practicing your co-foundership.
right? Yeah, that's profound. That really is. Tell us about Cherry Tree and your business now. What tell us about? You got a lot going on. I think of it as sort of being built around a great newsletter, but tell us about all the different things you're doing to help people be better co-founders and succeed as entrepreneurs. And
Yeah.
our audience, largely social entrepreneurs. How do we do this better? How do we change the world together?
Yeah, I see Cherry Tree as having three components. The main one is the newsletter. It's free. It's twice a week. It's very low commitment. It's roughly 500 words per edition, and so I try to pack as many, quick, easy, insightful tips into there as possible. And that's where, most people know about me. But when I published the newsletter, some people were like, "Hey, Tim, I want something more engaged, something more hands-on." And so I started a one-on-one coaching component as well. And that's where I work with co-founders themselves, either, both co-founders or multiple co-founders together, or just with one co-founder who's having, challenges. And there's a little bit more hand-holding there. And then when I started that, some people were like, maybe we don't necessarily need one-on-one stuff, but we do want a little bit more than just, a weekly newsletter. And so now I'm starting to teach cohort classes where I get a whole bunch of different companies and different industries and different co-founders to come together and to take a cohort class together. And that's been really fun. So I have the newsletter, the coaching, and the cohort, and that is Cherry Tree in its entirety.
That really is a cool package of offerings. And I think there are a lot of people that need those services. So this will be great.
Right.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everyone. I've got with us today Tim He, who is the CEO and founder of Cherry Tree app, and he's just doing some amazing things for co-founders. But we're going to shift gears and talk about his superpower after a quick break. So stick around. You don't want to miss this.
You can get in on the ground floor to help fix the climate crisis for as little as $100. Pause now to scan the QR code to get started or visit s4g.biz/raisegreen. You can beat a green at Raise Green.
Want to learn from the world's great change makers? Find your superpower. Subscribe to the Superpowers for Good newsletter at superpowersforgood.com. Make your strengths into superpowers that will change the world. Join the super crowd today. Superpowers4good.com.
Hope to raise money from the impact crowd. Good investors are as interested in community, social or environmental impact as you. Connect with Funding Hope, an SEC-registered FINRA member crowdfunding portal to learn how to raise capital from the impact crowd. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back, everyone. We're having such a great conversation today. We're here with Tim He, who is the founder of and CEO at Cherry Tree. And stick around. You don't want to miss this. This is just such a great conversation. But we are going to shift gears now, talking about his superpower. Tim, I just love what you're doing and admire your accomplishment and the insight required to appreciate that there are opportunities to really make a difference for entrepreneurs, including our social entrepreneur community, right, by helping them deal with the co-founder issues that are so common in entrepreneurship. But as you've done that, this had this remarkable short career already. You're amazing. What is your superpower?
Yeah, if I can let the audience in on a little secret, I knew I was going to be asked this question, given the title of the show, but it made me kind of think about it. I never thought about my one superpower, and I'd always thought about my strengths and my skill sets, but if I had to pick one, it makes me think of the Michelangelo quote where, I'm going to butcher this quote, but it's something like every stone or every block of marble has a statue in it, and it's up to you to discover it and to set it free. And so, that's chipping away at the marble until you get perfection. And I think that relates to my superpower because I can see the statue in other people, so to speak. I've always been able to see the sort of hidden potential in those around me, whether it was my friends, my students when I was teaching, the co-founders that I work with. And a lot of times I see it before they even see it themselves. Sometimes they have, somewhat of an intuitive understanding. Maybe, some teacher in grade 3 told them that they are a natural leader, but they haven't really, stepped into a leadership role that fits them yet. And so they never lived that experience. And so I would say my superpower is not only finding those and sort of discovering that hidden talent, but helping to bring that out, which is a big part of, what we do at Cherry Tree with helping co-founders work better together.
It is cool work that you're doing, and I really admire what you're doing, and I appreciate your superpower, because it is so important to be able to see the good and the potential, the power, the superpower of the people we work, live, and play with, right?
Yeah.
So that we're not seeing them as static, two-dimensional, characters in our life's journey, but seeing them
Right.
as full human beings. That, I think that's really great. Can you think of a specific example, a story you could share to illustrate your superpower?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories, but I think one of my favorites is probably, gosh, when was this? This is when I was probably 14 or 15 years old. To give you a little bit of background, at my high school, we had sort of these grade ceremonies. So at the end of the year, the top performer in math would get an award, the top performer in biology would get an award, in PE, and so on. And so I had a friend group who was very ambitious, and everybody wanted the top English award, the math award, whatever it is. And we figured we would increase our chances by, studying together. So we'd, get together in the library after school. We'd go over to each other's houses and we'd just study. We'd talk about the homework, and just encourage each other, right? And so at the end of the year, the graduation ceremony where all the awards are handed out happened to be on my birthday. So I was in a pretty good mood. And the 4 previous years, I had not won anything. I had come close. I was pretty good. I was pretty decent at a couple subjects. And those were the ones that I thought I had the highest chances of getting the award. But I was never, runner up or first. So my last year, I really wanted to get it down and win an award that year. And so I tried really hard for the whole year. I helped all my friends, and they all helped me. And so by the time the graduation ceremony came around, we were all sort of sat in the front row, and there was lights on stage. We couldn't really see each other. You had to get really close, and everybody was just buzzing with excitement. I knew where my parents sat in the stadium, and it was just a very exciting but high anticipation moment. And so I kind of tune out the rest of the awards, to be honest. But it gets to my grade, and we're sitting in one line, and the principal is calling out the winner for math, English, history, whatever it is. And coincidentally, all my friends who are sitting to my left, they get summoned one at a time. They go up there, walk on stage, shake the principal's hand, take a photo, get handed a bouquet of flowers, and then they go off. And I'm super excited for them. I'm happy, but I'm almost not paying full attention because I'm just thinking about the principal calling my name. And Ryan, who's sitting beside me, goes up. We high five. He goes off, comes down, and this is my moment, right? And the principal doesn't call my name. He actually calls the person to my right, so essentially skipping me. In that moment, my heart kind of drops, and I think, maybe this is a mistake. We're sitting in this order randomly, so no way it's going to be sequential the whole way through. Maybe he's going to come around, but he doesn't, right? And so that was very devastating moment for Tim, the teenager at the time, when I didn't win any awards. And so I was thinking about why that was the case. I'd worked just as many hours as my friends. I studied just as hard for the tests, and I just couldn't figure it out until many years later. I was talking to a mentor of mine, And he said that, I had helped translate the history notes from English to Mandarin for the guy who won the history award. I'd run extra laps with the guy who won the PE award. I took a summer science class with the person who won the science award, and I didn't even need a credit. Right. And so I think at some level, I saw that they had the potential to win these awards. And even though at the time I was bummed that, I didn't get it, I was actually happier that they got it because each one of them really, really liked the award or the subject that they got the award in. I only cared about getting an award, but the guy who won the PE award, for example, he just loved sport. He loved running. He loved improving his time. And so he wasn't concerned about any awards or anything like that. That was a big learning moment for me, but it was also when I realized that I could sort of see the potential in others. So hopefully that's a good example that's, sort of out of a business and co-founder context for how I discovered my superpower.
Well, I think that's a great story. Wow. I appreciate you sharing that. And
Yeah.
it is a profound lesson for us to contemplate. But kind of speaking of lessons, how would you coach us now to develop your superpower, being able to see and support that the potential in other people?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, actually, the first thought that came to my mind is why would you want to be like me? Find your superpower and cultivate that, whatever it happens to be. But if this happens to be your superpower as well, or if this is something that, your job requires or that you want to do because you're in a position to elevate other people, I think it's just about being humble. And I say that with a caveat. A lot of people think being humble is thinking less of yourself, which is totally not the case. I think being humble is thinking of yourself less, right? And so there's a subtle difference, grammatically, but it makes a huge difference. And if I have the time, I want to share a quick story with you guys. And I had a mentor called Alan. Unfortunately, passed away last year, but stuck with me forever. And he's a very successful person. He's an entrepreneur, advisor to a lot of, huge companies. And you cannot tell just by looking at him. He was a professor in Seattle. And if you saw him on the street, you would have no idea, that he's this really successful, pretty famous, high net worth individual who, when he talks, Wall Street moves and the stock market moves, right? And so I asked him, why? Like, well, why is he so humble? And not even just how, but because humility is a choice, right? And he said that he had the easy part, and that all his students who did the hard work of starting companies, of becoming, CEOs and co-founders, they did the heavy lifting, and all he did was allowed them to, right? And that kind of like flipped the switch in me, because a lot of times the people that you're supporting, they don't need extra stuff. We have so much information on YouTube, on shows like this, on just anywhere on the internet. A lot of times what you need isn't just facts and data. It's just the environment to explore and to be themselves so that they can be creative and sort of find that for themselves.
Yeah, great way to wrap up here. Tim, as we close now, I wonder if you would take just a quick minute and tell people how they can learn more, subscribe to your newsletter, how they can, get in your training groups, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure people know how to connect with you.
Yeah, that's important, right? You can find my newsletter at cherrytree.app. Cherrytree.app is the landing page, and I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me. Just search me up, Timhe. That's Tim He on LinkedIn, and I am pretty active there, so I'll definitely see a message.
All righty. Well, Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We want to wish you every success in your mission to help co-founders succeed together.
Appreciate that. It's been wonderful.
All righty. Now let's do some good.